So guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. So guys, there's some news breaking. Apparently, Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo Alvarez have been agreed for May. Obviously, we know that Canelo Alvarez has signed a deal with Eddie Hearn, a Matchroom 2-fight deal, and we know that he's taking on Avni Yildirim February 27th. But there's now news that he's going to be fighting Billy Joe Saunders in May for a unification showdown. If he gets past through Avni Yildirim, which I think most of us expect him to do, a fight between him and Billy Joe Saunders will take place early May. Which is crazy, the fact that Canelo will be fighting late Feb and then March, April, May. So he literally goes straight back into camp for a Billy Joe Saunders there. I don't know whether he's not expecting a tough fight against Avni Yildirim, the fact that he's already agreeing it, but it's crazy. Canelo's body of work is getting better and better. And this is a guy, like, listen, there's a lot of people now that are accusing Canelo of ducking Jamal Charlo. And this is another guy that people were saying that Canelo's ducking because of his style. Now he's agreed a deal to fight him, and he's going to be fighting him in May. Canelo's not afraid. This again shows that Canelo's not afraid of anyone. And Jamal Charlo will get his opportunity as well. Canelo will go through all of them. But Billy Joe Saunders and his fans were always saying that Canelo's ducking him, Canelo's this and that, when Canelo was never afraid of fighting Billy Joe Saunders. It's not like Billy Joe Saunders is a fight which he's gonna get hurt in. You know, Billy Joe Saunders isn't a big puncher. He's more of a guy that's gonna outbox you. And if I'm honest with you, I don't even think Billy Joe Saunders has better ring IQ than Canelo Alvarez. And listen, a lot of people saying I'm hating on Billy Joe. I'm not. Billy Joe Saunders is a good fighter, but there's levels. Canelo's on a different level. If you honestly think Canelo's avoiding or try to avoid Billy Joe Saunders, you're silly. He's never tried to avoid anyone. He's gonna fight. He can't fight all of them now. See, now, here's the thing. A lot of people are gonna say when Canelo takes on Billy Joe Saunders that he's fighting a Euro bum. He's fighting a European level for guy again from Europe. He's fighting another British bum. That's what they're gonna say. That's what they're gonna say. So he can never win because Americans are going to be saying he's fighting another British bum. Like Max Kellerman did a list of 5 people that he wants to see Canelo Alvarez fight, and Billy Joe Saunders wasn't one of them. Right? He wasn't one of the 5 that he mentioned or had a list that he wanted to see Canelo fight. So that obviously means that a lot of the Americans don't rate Saunders that highly. They don't look at him and think, wow, he's a great fighter. Because, to be fair, Billy Joe Saunders hasn't done a lot. He hasn't done a lot at the world stage, and neither has Andrade, by the way. And Canelo and Kellerman had him down as the second guy he wanted to see Canelo fight, but he hasn't done anything. But he's American, so they probably know about him a little bit more. But when I look at it, Saunders at world level hasn't done a lot, and this is like he's stepping up levels and levels from what he's been in the ring with. And I just don't think he's had the great preparation for a fight with someone like Canelo as well. But it's great news that the fight's done. It's great news that Billy Joe Saunders will finally get his opportunity. And you know what? I'm excited for Billy Joe Saunders because he's been saying all this long that he's this good and he wants to step up and he'll show how good he is. This is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for him to show how good he really is. Because he's been saying all along that he wants this kind of opportunity. And if you know, from what we're hearing, it's been agreed, he's going to get it in May. So then we'll find out how good Billy Joe Saunders is. Or am I wrong and Billy Joe Saunders right? Or is it the other way around? I don't know. We'll find out, because if I'm honest with you, I'm excited because I think I want to see Billy Joe Saunders in a fight where he's an underdog, where he's fighting a guy that's very high elite level, because he's never been in the ring with anyone like that. He's never been in the ring with anyone that's elite level. So let's see how Billy Joe Saunders' skills. You guys say that his footwork and hand speed and the way he moves around the ring is going to give Canelo a lot of trouble. Like Callum Smith said today that Canelo's unbeatable in around these weight classes. And he just says that I think Billy Joe Saunders is tricky and he'll get out of the way. But I just think he said Canelo's power will be too much for him. And Billy Joe Saunders can't really hurt Canelo. And that's what I've said all along. Billy Joe Saunders can't hurt Canelo, but Canelo could hurt Billy Joe Saunders, right? Billy Joe Saunders is going to try boxing out of the way and make it tricky. But Canelo's fought many styles like that. Canelo's fought many styles like that. And that's the thing, he's got more experience at facing that style. You know, Billy Joe Saunders isn't going to catch Canelo off guard. He's fought many guys that have come and tried to do that with him. Box, slick, quick feet. But Canelo's feet have got faster. Canelo's boxing IQ has definitely got better. His ring IQ has got better. And Saunders, like I said, he's going to do the same. He's going to do repetitive things throughout the fight. You know, he's going to do almost kind of a bit one-dimensional, when Canelo's going to start reading what he's doing. And then he's going to start adjusting. He's going to start closing off the ring. And it's not just the fact that, see, when you're not a big puncher and you're looking to outbox a guy for 12 rounds and that guy is a big puncher, it's the kind of mental pressure that he's going to bring on Billy Joe Saunders. It's like he's going to be constantly on him 12 rounds. And that tires you. When you know a guy, you can't hurt him, and he's there constantly on top of you, right? That's not just good. It's not just the fact that when he's hitting you in the body or he's hitting you with those big shots that we know Canelo has, you know, Canelo's a big puncher. It's the mental pressure that he's going to put on you, constantly being there. He's going to tire you mentally. And that kills you. That kills you. It's the constant threat of him being there, and you know what he can do with his one punch, and you have to be 100% concentrating every second of every round. That tires you mentally. That's hard, man. That's hard when you know a guy is a bulldog in front of you and he can rip you in half with one shot, and you're trying to box. Basically, you're on a tightrope. You know, you're on a tightrope, and you're trying to outbox this guy, so win points and also avoid his big shot, because you know if you get caught with it, you could be in big trouble. And I do believe that Canelo has serious power, and I believe his powers could hurt Billy Joe Saunders bad. I think Canelo will stop Saunders. I'd be very surprised if Saunders sees the bell. I do, because I think if Billy Joe Saunders goes 12 rounds, I actually think he has a chance of winning. You know, I actually think he could win. I don't know, because I think Canelo could outbox him as well. But I think he would have a much better chance, because he's not going to stop Canelo. I think if there's anyone that gets stopped, it's Saunders. But I just think, like I said, the mental pressure, him being on Billy Joe Saunders for, you know, throughout the 12 rounds, I just think he's going to put a lot of pressure on Saunders. And I just think Saunders isn't going to have been in the ring with anyone that's going to assert the kind of mental and physical pressure that Canelo is going to bring. And I just think that's going to be too much for him. I might be wrong, and maybe Billy Joe Saunders fights a perfect fight, but I don't see it, because I feel like a guy that beats Canelo is a guy that, you know, is able to hurt him a little bit. I know people are going to go back to Mayweather, but Mayweather's a phenomenon, and Canelo was not in his prime when he fought Mayweather. It was early on in his career where Canelo was still green. He was still learning. This is now Canelo at his peak, right? And I do think a guy that needs to be able to keep Canelo off, because Canelo's become too good a boxer now, and he punches very, very hard, right? So it's not a guy that's just going to go in there and get fiddled around for 12 rounds. This is a guy that's very, very good now. He's even improved massively since the Trout fight, Lara fight. He's got better. He's got way better. And the thing is with Billy Joe Saunders, yeah, he might be on it, but I've seen Billy Joe Saunders his whole career. Every fight that I've watched, he gets hit. Like, there's guys that land several punches on him. Canelo only needs to land one flush and it could be game over. And Canelo's not like a massive, massive puncher at super middle or middleweight. But I just don't think Billy Joe Saunders is physically that big himself. I never thought, like, yeah, he's a big, stocky guy and he gets above weight. But if you look at someone like Callum Smith, Canelo was bullying Callum Smith. He was literally bullying Callum Smith on the ropes. And Callum Smith, for me, is a huge super middleweight. What's he going to do to Billy Joe Saunders, who's not as tall, who's probably about Canelo's size and height? Like, not size, Canelo might be thicker than him, but I'm talking height-wise, about Canelo's height. So, when you take that all into consideration and you think Canelo is so strong, you just can't see Billy Joe Saunders. The fact that he doesn't have the power, the fact that Canelo, as Callum Smith pointed out, his defense is so good. Because what you got to understand is Canelo's defense is... Now listen, man, when Canelo fought Khan, there was times that he was making Khan miss in that fight. And Khan's way faster than Billy Joe Saunders. He has faster feet and faster hands. And at times, he made him miss. So don't get it twisted like Billy Joe Saunders is going to be so fast and Canelo's not going to be able to avoid his shots. Canelo at times will make Billy Joe Saunders miss. See, Billy Joe Saunders would have never been in the ring with anyone that has such good head movement and such good defense like Canelo. Like Callum Smith said, it's impossible to hit this guy. It's very hard to hit this guy. And Billy Joe Saunders will find out when he gets in the ring with Canelo that it's not going to be easy for him to hit him. But Canelo is very, very hard to hit. He's very awkward. He's got great head movement. Great head movement. So hard to hit clean. And then his body shots are going to be a huge problem for Saunders. Huge problem. Now, Saunders does look like a stubborn guy and does look like a guy that's not going to go down without a fight. He's definitely a tough guy. And I feel he's the type of guy that, you know, he'll go out on his shield. But I do think that Canelo, with those body shots, with the constant pressure, I just don't see how Billy Joe Saunders is going to keep him off for 12 rounds. I just don't see it. You know, I think there'll become a point where Canelo will start really forcing the issue. And I don't know whether Billy Joe Saunders is going to be able to keep him off and also have the stamina. Because when you've got a guy constantly on you, hitting you with big shots in the body, you're going to get tired. And you know that Billy Joe Saunders' stamina has not been great. And a lot of people say, well, obviously because he wasn't training that hard earlier on. But I don't think Billy Joe Saunders has been in a tough fight where his stamina has been tested. Apart from probably the Lee and Eubank. But this is a fight where that's going to be tested. And when you're not, I don't think Billy Joe Saunders is battle tested in the way I think Canelo will test him. And that's also going to be a problem. The fact that Billy Joe Saunders hasn't been pushed to the limit because of the resume that he's got, because of the opponents that he's been in the ring with. Canelo's going to push him right to the brink. And that's going to tire you. And then I just don't think he's going to be able to do it. I think Canelo's going to be too strong. I don't think Billy Joe Saunders has got the power to keep him off. And I think Canelo's going to keep walking at him. And I do think that when Canelo starts walking at him and Billy Joe Saunders feels some shots, I think he may even panic a little bit and start making more mistakes. And that will leave Canelo to, you know, more openings for Canelo. It's hard, man. When you got a guy in there and you know you can't hurt him, but he's walking you down and you know, it's very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. Because I just don't think a slick boxer is going to be able to outbox Canelo. I think Canelo's too good a boxer himself, but he's also got a lot of firepower in terms of punching power. So I think when you combine the fact how good a boxer Canelo is with the power, he's just a very difficult guy to beat. Very, very difficult guy to beat. If Billy Joe Saunders had power with the skills he had, then I would say, you know what, he's got a much better chance. Much better chance. But I think with the fact that he hasn't got much power and he's more of a boxer, I just think Canelo's strength, punching power, his boxing ability, his defense, when you add all of that together, it's very hard to see Billy Joe Saunders coming out on top. And even if the fight is close and Billy Joe Saunders manages to get to 12 rounds, is he going to get the decision? I don't think so. So he'd have to literally school Canelo. Like I'm talking, do a Mayweather on him. Which I don't see any fighter doing that to him now. I don't see any fighter being able to school Canelo. He's too good a fighter. He's too good a boxer. You know, I just don't see anybody being able to school him like that. So it's great that the fight's been made. It's great that the fight's happening. Or, you know, reportedly that it's going to go down in May. What do you guys make of this fight? Are you excited? Are you happy? It's an opportunity to see for Billy Joe to show how good he is. And even if he loses and puts up a great fight, you know, that will upraise his stock. People say, wow, this guy can really fight. You know, he'll gain a lot more from some of the in defeat against Canelo if he puts up a good fight than maybe in some of his victories. But only time will tell. Let's see what happens. What do you guys think? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Canelo Alvarez reportedly signed a deal to fight Billy Joe Saunders in May. Leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.